MDaemon's main graphical user interface gives you important information regarding MDaemon's resources, statistics, active sessions, and queued mail waiting to be processed. It also contains options for easily activating or deactivating MDaemon's various servers. MDaemon's tabbed panes keep you up to date on how the server and its incoming and outgoing connections are performing. The Stats pane is the default left pane of MDaemon's main interface. This window contains three sections: Statistics, Queues, and Servers. The Statistics section contains statistics regarding the number of messages sent and received by MDaemon, as well as the number of POP3 and IMAP sessions that have been initiated since startup. This section also displays the number of user accounts that exist and shows how many more can be created. You can right-click on most items to display a shortcut menu for easy access to common tasks. The Accounts shortcut menu provides shortcuts for creating, editing, and deleting accounts. The Mail Counter Statistics items have a shortcut menu that can be used to reset the counters to 0. Be aware that when you select Reset Root Node Counters, all of the counters will be reset to 0, not just the ones you've selected. These counters will also be reset to 0 when you reboot the machine. If you'd like to preserve these counter values when you reboot the machine, you can do so by navigating to the Setup Preferences menu. Click on UI, which stands for User Interface, and check the box Preserve Root Node Mail Counts. The Queues section contains an entry for each message queue and the number of messages, if any, that each queue contains. You can right-click on each of the queue entries to open a shortcut menu containing various options. You can process the selected queue, freeze or unfreeze the queue, view the queue, or open Queues and Statistics Manager with the selected queue displayed. The Process Now option re-queues all messages contained in the queue and attempts to process them normally for delivery. Be aware that if you attempt to process messages contained in the holding queue or bad queue, then the messages may encounter the same errors that put them there in the first place and return them to the same queue. When you right-click on the holding queue, selecting Release releases messages from the queue. MDaemon will attempt to deliver these messages regardless of errors encountered. They will not be returned to the holding queue even if they encounter the same errors that caused them to be moved there originally. The Re-Queue option is available for the holding queue and has the same effect as the Process Now option for the other queues. Enable Disable Queue activates or deactivates the holding queue. When disabled, messages will not be moved to the holding queue regardless of errors encountered. The Servers section contains an entry for each server within MDaemon, and each entry lists the current state of the server, active or inactive. Listed below each server's entry is an entry for each domain when applicable and the port and IP address currently in use by that server or domain. The right-click shortcut menu provides a control for toggling each server between the active and inactive states. The default right-hand pane of the main interface contains a group of tabs that display MDaemon's current actions and the status of its various servers and resources, and they are continually updated to reflect current server conditions. Each active session and server action is logged onto the appropriate tab once each action is complete. The information displayed on these tabs is mirrored in the log files kept in the logs directory if MDaemon has been configured to log such activity. I will now go over each of the tabs in the MDaemon interface. At Program Startup, the System tab displays a log of the initialization process, which can alert you to possible problems with MDaemon's configuration or status. It also displays activity such as enabling or disabling any of MDaemon's various servers. The Statistics tab will display a server statistics report corresponding to the information contained in the various root node counters in the Stats pane. The Routing tab displays the routing information for each message that is parsed by MDaemon and can be useful for troubleshooting mail delivery issues. Select the Security tab, and several other security-related tabs will appear above it. MDaemon's content filter operations are listed on the Content Filter tab. When a message matches the criteria of one of the content filter's message rules, the relevant information related to that message and the action taken are logged here. If you have installed Security Plus, then all antivirus operations are listed on the Antivirus tab. When a message is scanned for viruses, the relevant information related to that message and the action taken is logged here. The Anti-Spam and MD-SPAMD tabs display all spam filter activities. You'll also find tabs displaying SPF and DKIM activity, DMARC activity, and VPR certification activity. The Screening tab displays tar pitting and dynamic screening activities. Now let's look at the Mail tab. All incoming session activity using the SMTP protocol is displayed on the SMTP In tab, and all outgoing SMTP activity is displayed on the SMTP Out tab. Mail sessions using the IMAP protocol are logged on the IMAP tab. When users collect email from MDaemon using the POP3 protocol, that activity is logged under the POP3 tab. The Multipop and Domain Pop tabs display MDaemon's Multipop and Domain Pop mail collection activities. LDAP and Minger activities are displayed under the LDAP and Minger tabs. RAW, or System Generated Message activity, is logged on the RAW tab. The MDaemon tab displays messaging activity that is addressed to the default MDaemon system account. You can perform various actions by sending a specially formatted email to the MDaemon address on your domain, for example, mdaemon@example.com. For a list of commands you can send to this address, launch the MDaemon help file and review the section Remote Server Control via email. The Outlook Connector tab displays all Outlook Connector activities. This tab will only be displayed if Outlook Connector is installed. The Bez tab displays activity related to the BlackBerry Enterprise Server, and the Biz tab displays all activities relating to the BlackBerry Internet Service. Now let's look at the World Client tab. The World Client tab displays World Client's Mail, SyncML, and ActiveSync activities. The Queues tab gives you access to each message queue, including the local, remote, retry, and holding queues, as well as the quarantine, spam trap, Bayesian spam, and non-spam queues. The Plugins tab displays all activities related to any MDaemon plugins. BlackBerry Enterprise Server and BlackBerry Internet Service plugin activity will be displayed here, as well as Outbreak Protection activity when that option is enabled under the Outbreak Protection configuration screen. If you are using Active Directory, any communications with Active Directory will be logged under the Active Directory tab. The Sessions tab displays an entry for each active connection to MDaemon. Whether the connection is SMTP in or out, IMAP, POP3 in or out, or World Client, information about each active session is displayed here. When All Sessions is selected, as shown here, all currently open sessions will be displayed at the top of the window. When you right-click on a session, you have the option of selecting all sessions or clearing all sessions. Be careful when selecting Clear All, however, because clearing the sessions may disconnect all active sessions. The Print Copy option opens the selected text in Notepad. This can be useful if you need to save the selected data for further review, or if you need to email this information to technical support. You can also disconnect the selected session, add the connecting IP address to the IP screen or the dynamic screen, or view the connection properties. If you right-click in any area within the event tracking window, it will open up a shortcut menu. Various options are provided on this menu that can be used to select, copy, or delete the contents of a given tab. The menu's Print Copy option will open any currently selected Notepad, which can then be used to print the data or save it to a file. The Delete option will delete the text that you have selected. The Search option will open a window in which you can specify a word or phrase to search for in the log files. MDaemon will search all log files for the text string, and then all session transcripts containing that string will be combined into a single file and opened up in Notepad for your review. A practical use of this feature would be to search for a particular message ID header, which would provide a compilation from all of the logs of all session transcripts containing that message ID. The top navigation menu in MDaemon provides access to all of MDaemon's configuration settings. The File menu allows you to enable and disable the various POP, IMAP, SMTP, and other servers and back up your configuration files. The Edit menu provides quick access to accounts, mailing lists, gateways, and catalogs. The Setup menu provides access to your domain and server settings, including configuration of delivery settings, mobile device management, SMTP server parameters, DNS options, and timeouts, as well as access to gateways, mailing lists, public folders, logging options, and much more. The Security menu provides access to all of MDaemon's security settings, including the spam filter, content filter, and antivirus, as well as all anti-abuse, anti-relay, and SMTP authentication settings. Select the Accounts menu to manage your MDaemon accounts, including groups, quotas, aliases, autoresponders, and templates. And with catalogs, users have the ability to request files across the network and have them encoded and mailed back to them. The Queues menu allows you to freeze and unfreeze the various mail queues, as well as process them and view their contents. Queues and Statistics Manager is a useful tool that provides quick access to your mail queues and user mailboxes, as well as MDaemon's logs and reports. The Windows menu allows you to customize the layout of the MDaemon interface. Use the Help menu to look up the version of MDaemon you are running, view the MDaemon help file and release notes, register MDaemon and other products such as Security Plus and Outlook Connector, activate MDaemon, check for updates, and contact technical support. The buttons along the top of MDaemon allow you to display the server settings configuration screen, configure antivirus and content filtering, configure the spam filter and security settings, manage accounts and mailing lists, process the various mail queues, freeze the various mail queues, and access the MDaemon help file. This concludes this overview of the MDaemon graphical user interface.